Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Shantia here. So we are back for another review of Married at First Sight, and this is for the reunion part 1. This is for season 14. Okay, so if you haven't already, go ahead and check out my Heal Feel Reveal series and check out my Monday motivation videos. Those are just really awesome, positive, influencing videos that help women, are dedicated to helping women live their life in a way that feels natural, combining the inner work with the outer work, and creating for yourself your dream life. So let's go ahead and get into the review for this reunion. So I just finished watching it not too long ago, and I think the first couple that we can get out of the way is Alyssa and Chris. Same song and dance. Like, really, Alyssa, same thing comes out of her mouth every single time. And at this point, it's just so redundant that I'm just like, why are we giving her TV time? Why? Can't we just make it like about Chris and his journey? As we can see from Alyssa and from the 6 months of time, she hasn't learned anything. So there's that. Chris looks like he's hurting. He really looks like he's struggling through the whole experience. I think it's just really sad to put them together. I feel like that's torture, but maybe that's part of the contract as well. Are you guys surprised with who stayed together, who did not stay together? Make sure you comment down below in the comment section, like, subscribe, support the channel, hit that bell notification so you guys are notified whenever I do these posts or, you know, do these videos and create these videos for Married at First Sight, as well as any other videos that I create. Pretty much all my content is connected, and everything is about inner work. It's about working on yourself. It's about really putting in that work to work on your self-esteem, work on your confidence, work on your desires, which is something that women always have an issue with, is being able to be confident to believe that they can have desires to begin with. I think Alyssa, she's like overcorrected. Like, she's totally fine with having her desires, but with her, it's too selfish. I think that continuous problem is going to show up in all of her relationships as well. With Chris, I'm just really feeling for him. I'm hoping that he's going to pull through and understand that he shouldn't let this disappointing connection, he shouldn't use it as a reference for understanding that this is how relationships are going to be for him moving forward. You know, choose someone, choose a partner, choose people who are really deserving of you. And I hope he just learns that, to have the confidence in that. But I do appreciate his patience. Overall, I'm really curious to know, what did you guys think about all the couples? Noi and Steve stayed together, and Katina and Elijah stayed together. So woohoo! Good for them. Even with Katina and Elijah and me having my opinion about their relationship, I always believe that regardless of, you know, my opinion, your relationship is your sacred space. You need to decide, do you want to work on it? Do you not want to work on it? You need to decide if it's worth your effort. That's up to you and your partner. So the two of them stay together, and the couple who did not stay together was kind of the ones I predicted were not going to make it, which is Jasmina and Michael. They lasted about 12 days after decision day, as well as Mark and Lindsay, and we all kind of saw that coming. She's too much. She's too much for anyone. So that's the unfortunate thing. She wants a strong man, but really I'm like, girl, are you looking for a caveman? You're looking for someone hardcore. You know, you want him to put you in your place. Like, I just don't see that possibility coming up. Really, she needs to just work on a lot more compassion within herself, because there's a lot of healing, and we'll get to it when we get to her. Today, we're going to be talking about the couples in the order that they arrived, starting with Katina and Elijah. So with Katina and Elijah, immediately the energy, I could sense that they did seem like they were together. I loved Katina's femme fatale look. I thought that was super cute. The red lipstick with the short hair and the bangs and the dress. It was just, I love the whole look. Elijah was giving me humble, which I loved. You know, I was saying that in all of my reviews, and a lot of my reviews, is I really wanted him to humble himself. And as he was watching himself, he has, so like astrology talk to me would be Libra energy. Libra energy is just like the ability to see both sides, the ability to charm. He has this ability to communicate very eloquently and see things with an intelligence, which is great. I love that. I want to hear more about the work that he's done to get there. The main thing that was showing up for me is that he's really humbled himself by watching and reviewing himself. So I'm really happy to see that. I think every person deserves a second chance. Every person deserves an opportunity to prove themselves. The theme that primarily showed up between Katina and Elijah was don't judge. And I think this is true. I think every person has the ability to heal and work on themselves. I don't think that change happens overnight necessarily, but I think if you're really willing to put in the work, then you can do it and you can really get there. One of my favorite quotes that Elijah shared was that Be scared of the man who hides his secrets. Be scared of the man who hides his secrets. So he was saying, hey, I put it all out there. He's unapologetic about that. I put what I want out there. And I like that. I like that he says, this is what I want. He's not hiding behind anything. And to me, that's a pure intention to me. When you go with the intent to, this is what I want. This is me. This is who I am. Pure intentions is something, I think, such a huge character trait that you want in a partner. It was the way that he was going about it. It was the way he was talking to her about it with that kind of aggressive directness of, hey, I don't like this. Like, your food isn't edible. Later on, he got on a knee. He proposed to her. He said, hey, let's put in this commitment together. We put in the work. I care for you. I got you a ring. I thought that was a really beautiful display of love. I feel like him and Katina are doing the work together. I really appreciated that Katina said that she felt stupid or wasn't really sure. She was unsure. And I like that. I like hearing that people say they make a decision even if they're unsure. As much as I want to be like, girl, no, that's not for you, I like that she pushed through. Where they are a match is that they have somewhat pure intentions towards one another. Elijah is honest to a fault, and Katina is just who she is. How she presents herself is who she is. She has like a pure-heartedness about her as well. I feel like there's so much that came out in this part 1. I'm not really sure what they're going to talk about in the part 2. But I'm happy to see that the two of them are putting in the work. And I'm so happy to see that Elijah is understanding, hey, this is my wife. I need to protect her. I need to care for her. And that was one of my criticisms towards him. The two most natural things that men are phenomenal at is at being providers and protectors. It's hardwired in their DNA. If a man doesn't have that instinct to want to protect you and he puts himself and his needs and his desires before you, then that's concerning because he's hardwired to do that. So there's a block there. If he can't do that, then there's something in him that maybe needs to be healed or developed or matured to achieve that level. Otherwise, you're going to have to struggle through that with him and struggle through that growth with him. We will see in part 2 if there is anything else going on between the two of them. For the most part, I see that the two of them were willing to be much more considerate of one another's needs. And I like the playful genuineness between the two of them. And I like that the two of them are putting in so much effort to care for one another. So let's go ahead and move on to Jasmina and Michael. I wasn't really sure if they were going to stay together or not. I'm like, well, it's possible. I mean, they said yes. But my intuition was saying pretty much the entire time that I didn't feel the connection. Something that was interesting that came up was that apparently the reason why Jasmina and Michael didn't talk for a month was because Michael gave her the silent treatment after she called him aggressive. This is what I'm talking about when I say healing. Because you're going to have a lot of problems if you're giving people silent treatment. Silent treatment is what you do when you're a kid. It's not what you do when you're an adult. And it's not really what you want to do to embrace an adult, mature relationship with your partner. If you default to silent treatment, that means you have to heal some kind of inner child wounds. To me, I'm just going to say it for what it is. If you start acting like a child, we all have these moments. It's just awareness for us to understand that we have to heal an inner child-ishness within us. That inner child part needs to be healed. So something got stunted there, right? I was really interested to hear about that. I think Michael, I really do get the sense that he's a sensitive, thoughtful, intelligent person. Him and Jasmina, they don't quite fit. To me, he feels like water and maybe earth energy, and she feels like fire. He also feels very intelligent, so maybe, I don't know, air and fire. He feels like water to me. Emotional, deep, thoughtful. I feel like she has deep emotions too, but I think she has a fire that needs to be sparked with someone, and she needs a certain kind of personality. So yes, she friend-zoned him, and yes, she energetically rejected him. However, that is something you have to be aware of sooner than later. Why say yes when you're not really interested? So they lasted for 12 days after their decision day. They didn't move in together, and they were making plans to connect with one another. She said she reached out to him. He wasn't making as much of an effort. She said she would always compliment him on his looks. He didn't really compliment her. So again, I feel like there's a maturity issue there. He needs to work on that, because I was getting the vibe, even if it was someone else, even if it wasn't Jasmina, maybe let's just say it was someone who's much more open and attracted to him, he would still have issues, I think, with being romantic or doing those romantic gestures. There's two sides to it. Yes, she friend-zoned him, and yes, she energetically rejected him. However, he wasn't pursuing her. He was also in his feelings. Men have feelings too. They get in their feelings too. They're allowed to feel their feelings. I think as women, you know, because we're more in tune with our feelings, we can help to pull them through those experiences a little bit more, perhaps. But I also feel like if, you know, someone's giving you the silent treatment for a month, it just shows a lack of maturity. They're not fully ready for a relationship. And I was having this argument with someone else. I'm like, I don't think he's ready. I just don't get the sense that he's ready. I think he needs a break. No relationships, just work on himself and build that confidence. I'm just getting like, there's something hidden in him and it needs to come out. Like a light, a confidence, a brightness. And I feel like he needs to work on bringing that out. And that's going to take, I mean, we always say it takes time, but truly it takes energetic effort and it takes awareness. And I'm not seeing the awareness fully there yet. Jasmina, I'm really getting the vibe that Jasmina needs to, she's very strong-willed, right? She's so stuck and firm on the word aggressive. I think she should have softened her approach to the use of it because she was saying, well, he didn't like it, but that's how I felt. Let it go. That's a maturity thing on her part. Let it go. If he doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. This is the difference between being single and being in a partnership. When you're in a partnership, you gotta be considerate of how those words impacts your partner. Even if you prefer it. Because what relationships really do is they help you to cultivate compassion and practice compassion. And I feel like she's resisting the compassion. And I'm really looking forward to her wanting to work more on that compassion and bring that compassion, because she's so firm in her strong beliefs about, okay, this is how I think, this is how I feel. That's fine. But there's a difference between the independent woman and the married woman. So the independent woman cannot be the married woman. When I'm talking about the concept of you're independent, you're going out there, you're doing your thing, you're figuring yourself out, you're finding your beliefs, seeing who you are. But in a relationship, right, now it's time to shift our beliefs to us, not me. All in all, they're not together. I think they're still, the way that they were fighting and stuck on that, their disagreements, I think there's just some issues where things weren't quite connecting. I think Jasmina is going to be ready sooner than him to probably like not only date, but just also to see someone. I just feel like, well, Michael to me feels like a committus. He feels like, to me, he dates one person at a time and then he just, well, he said he had a hard time committing, but that's because I think he's a committus. He's like all or nothing kind of person, like I'm devoted or I'm not. But he's feeling too shifty for me. You know, when I'm hearing that you're dating and you can't pick, you're too picky, it's because you're too picky because you haven't decided fully either who you are or what you want. There's always lots to choose from. You just have to decide, are you ready? Are you really ready for a marriage? Are you really ready for a relationship? There's lots to choose from. And people are always saying, oh, it's slim pickings out there. To the whole world, all the billions of people on this planet, you think there's slim pickings. Not at all. Okay, so that's Jasmina and Michael. Let's go ahead and move on to our next favorite couple, Noah and Steve. Okay, so Noah and Steve, obviously they stayed together and they're still cute together. The primary issue that showed up between the two of them was the communication, which they said they're getting counseling on, which is fantastic. Get that counseling. And the situation about Steve's job. So I was saying, and I was getting the vibe that Steve, again, he probably worked really hard. He saved, he invested, he's a really smart guy, really intelligent guy, knows people. He can get a job. That's not the issue. It's like, what does he want to do? So we can all say the job thing. We can all get a job. I can get a job. You can get a job. Anyone can get a job. That's not the issue. The issue is, does he want that job? And to me, if you haven't solidified that job, it's probably because you're experimenting, right? Maybe you're in that period of your life where you're wanting to try different things. So he gave Noah a plan. He talked about the financials. I was happy to hear that because I'm like, I've been waiting for this conversation. All right, Bitcoin, let's go. Investments, let's go. Savings, let's go. I want to hear about this. Are you as a couple having this kind of conversation? It's so important to talk about finances and be upfront. I think Steve really does have a desire to, he set a deadline. So when I'm hearing, okay, I've set a deadline, I'm also hearing I want to experiment and try different things and live a life of adventure and I don't want to work. I also think, from my perspective as a creative, intuitive entrepreneur, it takes a certain kind of courage to pursue things that are not methodical. Like step 1, 2, 3, you go to school, get your associates, bachelor's, get the certificate, you get trained for the job. 7 years, you're in your dream career after putting in all that work. It takes kind of courage to be able to just go and do your own creative thing. So really, I think he's just figuring out and deciding what he wants it to be. What does he want to invest his time in? Maybe he's random. If you've seen my other videos, I talk about manifesting generators, which I am. If you're a manifesting generator in your human design chart, and that's your type, there's 5 types? I was about to say 4. I think there's 5 types. If you're a manifesting generator, you like to do different things. So you need to have a lot of different things going on to feel very motivated in life and feel very fulfilled and passionate. So I think I'm getting the vibe from him. He wants a lot of different things going on, not just a 9 to 5, which is fine. So he gave Noi a deadline. Great. That's it. She needs a plan. She needs that security. She's living with him. So another thing that came up between the two of them is that she still has her own apartment and she's still holding on to it. I think that's fine. This is married at first sight. This isn't, we've known each other for 5 years and then we got married, or we known each other for 2 years and then we got married kind of thing. This is married at first sight. So these people are still transitioning at a normal pace than other couples. Yes, the actual show fast forwards, the experience and speeds it up. At the same time, their human bodies and mind can only develop and change so much in that span of time. So without that pressure, things start to slow down, right? And we see this with all of the couples. After they finish the show, things slow down. Now they're starting to get to know each other in a whole different light. Now they're getting to really see what they really want and what really works for them. She still wants her 3 kids. She's willing to compromise. So I'm happy. I think the two of them are willing to do the work. What's pulling them through to me is the chemistry, and it's the love and the care that they have for one another. What was also interesting was when Sriracha came out and brought up the topic of being condescending. So I thought that was interesting, but it also opened my mind, because all this time when I've been seeing Steve communicate, I always felt like he was a really great communicator and a sweetheart as well. However, perhaps he does come off or can be a little bit condescending not because he's looking down on Noi, but because he is such a good communicator and he is so intelligent. It's actually easier for him to just come off that way towards her. I thought that was a really good conflict topic to be brought up between the two of them, because it's been subtle. Noi, like I said, she kind of does come off childish in certain discussions and from certain perspectives and from the scenes that we've seen of her, yet at the same time, this is your spouse, this is your partner. If you treat them like an adult, just like think about kids. I know this is a weird analogy because you don't exactly want to be like, oh, I'm raising my spouse, but if you think about kids, if you treat them like they can think for themselves, they'll start to think for themselves. I thought Michelle Obama explained it powerfully. She said, my mom never treated us like we were, I don't know if she said they didn't treat them like they were kids, but her parents inspired her and challenged her to think for herself and make her own decisions. Her parents expected that her kids could make powerful, intelligent decisions, and therefore the kids arise to the occasion. And I think if Steve does that with Noi, she will arise to the occasion. Okay, so that's it for Steve and Noi. I'm happy to see that the two of them are still together, happy, thriving, trusting one another, getting counseling, working on their ishness. I think that's great. Steve, to me, is really fantastic. I think he's humble, he's willing to take criticism, yet at the same time, he's in tune. Another part that was interesting that came up is he came back at Lindsay for not being totally honest with them. That's the first time I think I've really seen, other than Katina'S, someone else call out Lindsay. So I thought that was interesting because I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Apparently, Lindsay was talking about Noi's and Steve's intimate life to a producer, and they did not like that. And she was like, no, I'm not. So who knows? I don't know what to believe. I think there might have been some kind of twisted misunderstanding in all of that. And maybe they both had somewhat better intentions. Who knows? Okay, so moving on to our next favorite couple, Mark and Lindsay. No surprise, they're not together anymore. And I definitely predicted this. So theirs was even shorter than Jasmina's and Michael's post decision day. They lasted for 7 days. I thought it was hilarious. So Lindsay brings out the whole scroll, the letter of, I've done this for you. I've redone your house. I've helped your life. I've moved generational, what was she talking about? Generational boxes around your home. 2 generations of boxes around your home. I've helped to infuse confidence. Oh, okay. I know I called out narcissism before, but I gotta say, at this point, it's pretty obvious. It is pretty obvious. She is cheering herself on. And, you know, I praise that confidence because we can all use a little bit of that confidence for ourselves. If you want to go out there and get the job of your dream and create the dream career, you kind of need that attitude. It's like, I'm that bad. Lindsay thinks she's that bad. She does. And we all need that, which is great. However, she's going to have so many issues continue to show up for her in relationships because she's still lacking that compassion. Whew, it is not there. It's not existent. Lack of compassion. She came for Mark. I'm like, she will lift you up and she will tear you down. Whew, just like that in one instant swoop. After I think Mark and Lindsay moved in together, Mark started feeling some doubts. Now, I'm just like, I know they weren't gonna last. She comes for him. She attacks him. She comes for him. He's not a strong man. He's not intelligent. He's going through so much. He's so negative all the time. I mean, Mark, just thank the heavens that you guys are not together anymore, because that woman, she just pulls you down. You know, I just get that, and I get that vibe because when I do see bullies, I guess it is a bit of a trigger for me because I had to learn how to advocate for myself and to speak up. So when I see someone coming for someone else, I'm just like, you gotta speak up, Mark. So I'm so happy that Mark brought that up. He said out of all the bullying experiences he's gone through, not surprised to hear that he's been bullied before. Now he's in this karmic relationship with this woman. He said that Lindsay was the worst of all the bullying experiences he's had. So apparently something happened with social media. She got triggered. She came for him, said, I'm coming for you. And he was like, this is not going to work at all. However, I have to say this, listen to your intuition. You do not need to pull yourself through those unhealthy connections or relationships. Listen to that intuition. And I cannot promote it enough, because I truly believe you need to listen to your intuition. If I had listened to my intuition sooner and I had decided to get up and leave the circumstances, I would have been a lot more trustworthy of my intuition, because I questioned it for years. And I'm like, oh no, I'm fine. It's me. It's in my head. It's me. This is why I feel so passionate about people who get in these situations, because it is a mental, emotional abuse. It's a mental and emotional abuse. You need to get yourself up and out of that situation when your intuition is telling you you need to leave, because some people just are not for you. They do not mean well. They have a lot of healing to do on their own. It is not for you to heal them or work through that with them. Okay? Please remember that. Okay, so Mark and Lindsay, that is their situation. There is an obvious lack of disrespect. I think Mark respected her. You know, he was always willing to be the good guy. She's talking about, I've got this great job, I'm dating. I'm just like, high school. This man, so you think you're more intelligent than this man, but this man is such a wonderful person. Like, his integrity is light years beyond you. His compassion is light years beyond you. The thing that Mark brought up was that Lindsay doesn't tell stories accurately. And I said this in my previous reviews. I'm like, I just don't believe her. It's too exaggerated. And I would have to say that I'm just so glad he called her out. I just hope he doesn't internalize it to think like, am I crazy? Like, this woman, no, trust that. Like, oh my gosh, you're free, Mark. You're free. Take off, go do your thing. Believe in yourself. Find yourself. Do everything that you love. Find the person who truly loves you back in the way that you deserve. The last thing I'm going to say for this review in general, for Alyssa and Chris, and for Mark and Lindsay's situation, is that people will deselect themselves when they cannot. Let's say you're a pure intention person, you have good intentions, people will deselect themselves. There will be times where maybe you decide to end things, which is great. But there are also times where, I feel like Mark was, to me, he was putting a lot of that effort to be very compassionate and kind. And I always want to like think of Jesus, like, you know, Jesus is always telling you, okay, do the right thing, be kind, don't worry about that stuff, like just be kind, be strong. And in spite of how people treat you, treat them with kindness, treat them with love. And I felt like Mark was truly doing that, and he was showing that and displaying that and demonstrating that for all of us, is to have compassion. Even with Katina, you know, she was willing to trust Elijah in spite of that. Is he fully doing the work? Well, I guess we'll see part 2 of the reunion, but for the most part, he was starting to see more and more, this is a really great woman. And a lot of that is inner work as well. When you believe that you're deserving of love and more, what does he do? The masculine will follow the feminine energy. The feminine owns the energy. Thankfully, Katina was calm. She has a great temperament. She knows how to handle conflict very well. She pulled through. Elijah came to meet her at her level. Whereas Lindsay and Alyssa, you know why they fall away? Because they're deselecting themselves. And you need to let people deselect themselves when they're not for you. Let it be, because that is it's not a blessing in disguise, because it's like an obvious blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Woof! Didn't have to try to make you leave. You just left. Yay to me. Okay, so that is my review for Married at First Sight. Season 14, reunion part 1, and we're going to be back next week for part 2. So make sure you hit that bell notification so that you're notified of my next video. I do also upload videos talking about inner work, and as well as the Monday motivation videos, helping you, the viewers, to stay positive and motivated in your decision making, in your relationships, in your life. That is my purpose. Part of my purpose is to help do that for people and empower you to truly believe in yourself. You can create what you want. You can get what you want, no matter what anyone says. All right, so I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening. Check out my website. It's my first and last name, Shantia Crowley. And I will see you guys with the next Heal, Feel, and Reveal series video, Monday motivation video, and everything else I just promoted. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening. Bye.